Let's play around with these lights a little bit. There you go. Hey, stars. Yes, my. Let me make you a mod. Last time we had this guy going on about bloody Christianity or something. There you go, baby. You're a mod now. Oh, let's wait for people to arrive. How are you? What have you been up to? What have you been up to, my darling? Have you been good? I can't, you know what? How do you come on straight away? Did you wait for me at 9 o'clock? Is that what you did? You actually waited for me, didn't you? Okay. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Hey, who else is there? Give us a hi, give us a hey. Oh, bless you. You waited for me. I love that. Oh, you're in my heart. You're so in my heart. Oh, I love it. So you're my moderator today. So if anybody, tries to disrupt the live, you will get rid of them. Or anyone just gets rude or anything like that, you can moderate the comments. Hey, who else is there? Say hi. We're just waiting for some more people to join, and then we can get on with the second power. Yeah. Authenticity. The weekend has been awesome. Like, I did have a tough week, actually. There was a lot going on. So when we done the live on Friday and we talked about integrity, I just thought, you know what, let me take the weekend off because I didn't want to kind of bombard you guys with too much. And I wanted you to give you a chance to get like grasp the power of integrity and see the magic unfolding and the energy that you get intrinsically from embodying that principle. So anybody who hasn't um saw the integrity video, I have actually left it up longer. Yeah, I've left it up longer so that you can recap and go over some of the things that I said during that live, because there was so much powerful cognitions that you could get from that. A lot. I mean, it's an emotional journey. Like, it's real serious. It's not a joke. It's not airy fairy crap. You literally have to do the work. You have to do the reflection. So therefore, if you're somebody who struggles to reflect and have self-awareness, this ain't the space for you. If you're always the kind of person who sits in selfishness and orientates every narrative to you being a victim of some sort, then it's not for you. Yes, I remember. And hi Christmas, and hi Jessica. I hope you guys are good. Yeah. What did Christmas do? Oh my God. So, integrity last Friday, was it? It was Friday, wasn't it, Star? Friday, we talked about integrity and we were talking about how to apply personal integrity and how to use that to push yourself forward in terms of progressing in your life. So, we said that integrity is honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others as though your life depends on it. Thank you, Star. Yeah? Giving, honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others as though your life depends on it. So, if you have a feeling or a thought about yourself or others, it's something that you have to check. And this is how not only you look after your mental health and reduce the self criticism, but you also improve your own self love and self esteem. And also learn to trust yourself. You know, if something happens in your life and you have a somatic response, it needs looking at, and it teaches you to react less and respond more. You know, no one's perfect, but being able to respond to life rather than react to it is not only mature, but it's powerful. A lot of you wrote down 10 things that you've said you're going to do for yourself and others, and you haven't. Yeah. And then we looked at why is it that you haven't done those things? What is the story that you're telling yourself why you haven't done those things? So writing a book is as important as cleaning the cupboard. So none of the words, none of the thoughts and feelings that you have are more or less important than either of them. It's about making sure that your inner space is clear. Yeah. It's about making sure that you're not getting bombarded with thoughts and feelings that are causing incompletion, meaning weight within yourself and gravitating you to the harshness of life. It's about being light towards the harshness of life. So, therefore, I gave you the metaphor of looking at it as though you are a post box, and if the postman doesn't come to clear out the post box, it's just going to overflow. Nothing's getting delivered, nothing's getting done. So you're not only, okay, Star, you're not only the post box, you're also the postman. So when you have a thought and a feeling that you need to, hold on a moment, you need to address it. Okay, the light. Yeah, you need to address it. You need to take it seriously and give it the attention it needs and deserves. And I think over the weekend I was thinking about, some of the other areas of life that I didn't touch on when it comes to integrity. I mean, today we're going to be talking about authenticity. But one of the areas that was important for me to mention, which I didn't mention, which was your health. You know, um, how many times have you given away the power of knowing how to heal yourself to the system, and not when you could have followed yourself or been in a position of instructing rather than reliance? How many times has that happened? It's happened to me before. I think it was about 2 years ago. I just randomly started to become ill. I was tired, my energy was low. I was getting this horrible rash on my skin. And I was like, what is going on? It was when I came back from Spain. What is going on? A lot happened. So I assume that there was a lot of stresses going on. A lot did happen. However, when it came to healing myself and I was going to the doctors and stuff, they didn't have a clue what was going on. Once I took matters into my own hands, I literally healed myself. Yep, I did. My skin's cleared up, as you can see. I'm no longer feeling like I've got SAD syndrome, where I am. I'll just leave that to charge for a bit because it's just gone off. I'm no longer feeling like I've got SAD syndrome, where when it's dark outside, you know, this I literally need the sun to wake me to bring me to give me energy and help me to exist. That doesn't happen anymore. And I was also um well, you could say pescatarian, and I was craving meat. And I remember one day my friend said to me, Serena, just listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Follow your instincts and do what you've got to do. And I think it was my leg, the part of my leg that was rashed, had the rash. And I literally I rubbed my leg, I rubbed that part of my body, I closed my eyes and I was like, talk to me. Talk to me and tell me what you want me to do. What is it that you are saying to me? And I went to the shop and I bought some meat. And I swear to God, I felt like I hadn't eaten in 100 years. I was like, oh my God. How you heal yourself is by listening to yourself. What might work for me might not work for you. So I could say to you, use burdock or dandelion drops or whatever, but that might not be what your body needs for what was going on or what is going on for you. So sit down with yourself and listen to your integrity. Listen to yourself and honor what's going on. Don't look for outside opinions. Listen to yourself, figure out what's going on. And if you need assistance from outside of yourself, then go ahead and do that. However, in any case, it's about honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others as though your life depends on it. So you will therefore be honoring listening to yourself about what the healing process is in this instance. And a lot of the times when we don't do that, it's because we're telling ourselves a story. And what is the story? Nobody likes me. Nobody cares. I'm not that smart. It could go wrong because the last time I tried to listen to myself, it went wrong. You know, sometimes it's about allowing something to happen and then just sitting with yourself, like I said, rather than responding and just allowing the somatic feeling to relax itself and then addressing it. And I find it really interesting how men always say that women are feelings based. Maybe women are more positive feeling based. Maybe men find it um difficult to feel positive feelings and that's why they relate it to women. So even as a man, if you listen to your integrity in terms of making decisions in your life, You are therefore honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself as though your life depends on it. So again, for those who wrote the list down of the 10 things, the 10 ways that they didn't honor themselves and the things that they're going to execute, then write another one if you've completed it. Hi, Berry. Hi, Claudia. How are you? I'm just recapping from last week, Friday, when I taught the viewers, I taught you guys the power of integrity. You will see it, the replay in my videos column. You can say hi if you want to say hi. I don't know what that means. Yeah, so that's what we was talking about, Barry. We were talking about integrity, and tonight we're going to do authenticity. We're going to talk about how to use the power of authenticity. Hi, Monica. This light keeps going off. The light keeps going off. So, okay. So the second power is authenticity. And this power is about how to preserve your own energy and reach your peak capacity. Hi, Alice. Yeah, and reach your peak capacity. And the way that you do that is by aligning how you feel inside with what you show the world, and what the world says about you. Yeah. With integrity, you align your authenticity. And that's why we talked about integrity first. Integrity is the first power. Yeah. Because without integrity, without listening to yourself and trusting yourself, you're not able to execute your authenticity. Okay. Without integrity, you are not going to be able to execute authenticity. So without honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others, as though your life depends on it, you won't be able to execute your authenticity, meaning you won't be able to align how you feel inside with what you show others and what others say about you. Because a lot of us are scared to be seen. So we're not necessarily scared to feel or know who we are for ourselves. However, what we do is learn to mask that. We learn to mask that inward structure that we have, the who we are, the ugliness and the beauty. So how we present ourselves to the world is in a completely different way than what's going on inside of us. And that's the trick. That is the reason why we are not manifesting the things that we want in life, because we're not aligning and walking in the truth of how we feel inside, what we show others, and what others say about us. It's not any simple task. You have to be an absolute boss to do these things. A lot of people will probably be sitting there going, oh, that's easy. At the end of the day, I'm not a fake person and blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah. But that means what, your life is perfect. Again, these teachings are not for people who think they're perfect. This is not for people who, blame the world for all of their problems. These teachings are for those who are genuine. Those who are genuinely on a journey to self-actualization and life actualization. It's not about doing it for other people. It's about doing it for self. It's about doing it for so you can trust you, you know? Too many times life is sending what we don't want in our relationships, in our opportunities, in our monies, in our friendships. Too many times life is sending these things that we don't want. So this is the way to align to what we do want. And if you haven't got a pen and a paper, please do get a pen and a paper because we're going to go into it shortly. Just think about, I think I touched on energy, yeah, and preserving your energy. How many times have you gone outside, spent time with people to then be exhausted? Just think about it. How many times you've gone outside, been around people and been exhausted? That's because you're wearing a mask. That's because you're around people and in spaces that you're not supposed to be in. You know? So if you're wasting time in spaces and around people who, hey Tash, who you are not supposed to be around, then you're wasting your energy and you're blocking yourself from opportunities. So it's just like when you go on dates, for example, and you are wearing a mask and meaning you're trying not to be seen. How's about you relax in that space and be who you are? And in that way, you will be able to experience yourself and that person on an authentic level. And if their response to you is out of alignment in terms of how you feel inside, what you show, because this is what the feedback is, this is what they're saying, yeah, then that's a good thing that you know never to go around that person again. If you're in a job and you have to mask yourself, some people are okay with that and that's absolutely fine. However, a lot of people do experience burnout because not because the job's demanding, it's because they're performing. So therefore, they're using way too much energy in that space. That's why a lot of people you hear a lot of people say, I can't wait to retire. They can't wait to retire because they're just so exhausted from performing their role. So not everybody has the privilege to, be in a position where they can be authentic in their job. And some people do. And even if you can't, why are you therefore going to create other spaces and areas in life where you have to perform? You're already performing in your job. So why are you now performing and hiding who you are in your relationships, in your friendships, around your kids and around your family, around associates and within your hobbies? Some people actually just dedicate themselves to work and then if they don't realize that if they put themselves in more authentic positions in other areas of their life, they'd be able to have more energy to function in their work life, for example. So it's not always about shutting down certain spaces to then have it all. Sometimes it's about learning to juggle where you're seen and where you're not seen. So authenticity is aligning how you feel inside, what you show others, and what the world says about you. So, for example, um, I had a friend, and she was like, oh, she was always going on dates and stuff. And she's like, oh, you know, I'm such a good person. I'm such a good person. I don't know why I can't be in a relationship. So it was kind of interesting because she was actively looking for a man. So I started asking her questions. I started asking her, you know, do you mind if we kind of explore your perception of who you are? Because I don't have the problems that you have. I feel like I've got choice. You know, I'm not in a relationship because I don't want to be with those specific people. So she was like, yeah, she's cool anyway. So um I asked her, how do you feel inside? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, how do you feel inside? Do you genuinely feel like you're a good person? And she was like, yeah, I'm a good person. So I says, okay, so what are your insecurities? She's like, I'm not insecure. I said, it's not a big thing to admit that you've got insecurities. Like, I've got a fupa, I've got 2 kids, you know, and I've got a bit of a stomach, and that makes me feel insecure, you know. And she's like, oh. So then she started talking about the stuff that she is insecure about. And then I says to her, but is that what you show when you go on a date? And she was like, no. I said, so when you go on a date, she did have a tummy. So let's just use that as an example, yeah? Um, I says, do you, you know, show that you're conscious? Like, are you humble within yourself as though, you know, I don't think I'm perfect. I know I'm conscious of my tummy. I feel like my breasts are a bit droopy, or, you know, whatever. Do you come across like that? She's like, no, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, I've got a complex about my tummy. I says, no, I'm not saying that you need to sit there and go on about it. However, you might need to tone your confidence level down a little bit because you actually have insecurities. So therefore, you're coming across very unrealistic because you're pretending that you think you're the shit. And inside, you don't really feel like you're the shit. So she was like, Serena, you know what? I'm conscious about my car as well, and all this kind of stuff. And she was like, you know, I'm not sure my kids would like me to have a partner. And I said, there you go. So these are the things that are going on inside of you that are making you feel like you are not worth having what you want. You are not worth manifesting the things that you want. Where, like in this case, it's a relationship. Hi, Ronaldo. Um, so therefore, in terms of the universe giving you what you want, you are feeling those insecurities inside, which you're not dealing with. You're presenting as though you are absolutely fine. And then what people are saying about you is that you're not somebody to attach to. You're not someone to vibes with. You're not someone real. So people are detecting a level of inauthenticity when it comes to you because you're not keeping it real. When you go on a date, are you saying you're a bit conscious about, you know, how your kids will receive you potentially being in a relationship? Are you saying things like that? You know, it's not over personal. You're just keeping it bloody real. Those are things that affect you. And also, you will need to sit down with integrity and address those things and discuss those things with yourself and observe your situation. Because if you do want a relationship, it's not that you shouldn't have a relationship because you're feeling that way. It's just about addressing those situations. And within its simplicity, a lot of the times we don't do those things. And we'll be in interactions, friendships, relationships, and take up opportunities and bring those insecurities into the situation. And therefore, when something triggers those insecurities, we will then blame the opportunity, friend, partner, or situation, when really these are unresolved issues that we have within ourselves. And therefore, we will self sabotage and tell ourselves the story, and we're the victim. Hey, Noah and Idris. Yeah. So we're talking about authenticity and aligning our authenticity, being honest about the things we're insecure about, and presenting that to the world or to those who we're around, and being real about that. So therefore, it aligns with what people say about us. And then, why is it important? A lot of the times, we live in today's culture where it's like, I don't care what people think about me. I don't give a shit what people think about me. Now, it's not that you are seeking, I'm not promoting seeking external validation, but what I am promoting is you learning to be around the right people and place yourself in the right circumstances, as well as take yourself out of the wrong circumstances. So if you're in a position where you have, I'm just going to use a date, yeah, you've gone on a date, you've got certain insecurities, and then you and this person, you started to feel comfortable with the person. You say, you know what? Something that concerns me in a relationship is how well that person would get on with my children, for example, or how much of a good father you would be, or mother, if it's a man, for example. Yeah. And then that person's saying why, being a bit ignorant towards that opening, what you're saying. You can therefore just straight away just decide that that's not something that you want, and you've just saved so much time by keeping it real. But when you're not honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others, meaning the things that are going on inside of you, and you're afraid to be seen, it means that you don't value your insecurities. You have to value those things, because those things are ways of navigating life. They're jewels to navigate life. They're tools to navigate life. Don't be embarrassed, because the right person will give you the response that you need. And that's why it's important for you to be bothered about what people think about you. You have to be bothered about what people think about you. If you present as this perfect person, then that person is going to either pick up on your inauthenticity, or see it as a vulnerability, or see as, oh, this is an area that I can incubate and create a safe space, and therefore intimacy is built off that. That case, the universe has given you what you want, because you're out on a date and you want a relationship. So you're now seeing that this person, bye-bye, this person is good for you. This isn't about red flags and green flags and all that kind of stuff. This is about you keeping it real. So with that said, I want you to get a piece of paper, and I'm just going to give you, I'm going to show you what I want you to do. So if you've got a pen and paper, oh, have you got who's got a cuppa? You got a cup of tea or a glass of wine today? What have we got? Let me lean on this. What have you guys got? You got a cup of tea or a glass of wine? Authenticity, we're talking about. Clove tea, nice. You know what? I love clove, and it's good to rinse out your mouth with as well. Really, really good. At the moment, my mum brought me back some banana leaves from Gambia. Yeah. So that's what I'm drinking at the moment. And I need fiber, I do. I need extra fiber. So the banana leaves are doing well. My son had a really bad asthma attack about a week and a half ago, and he was in hospital. I don't know what bug was going around. But hi Rebecca. How many 1 million? How many subscribers do I want? I want 1 million, Rebecca. We're manifesting subscribers. I want 1 million on plus subscribers who I can convert into clients or, monetary value. Yeah, so she brought back the banana leaves in order for me to give to my son because apparently it takes out asthma. It heals the lungs. So your inner experience, your outer experience. Sorry, got distracted there. And is that a lot? Is that too much? The universe won't give me that. Oh, wow. I was just keeping it real. And what others say? Others say. So this is how your column is supposed to look. So you've got inner, outer, and what others say. Okay. In the in the inner column, and this is like between you and God, just write down how you're feeling inside. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I did kind of start to feel a bit like I can't be asked today. I was just like, oh. So my body said, you need to walk. And I've got up, sorted myself out, and said, I'm going to go for a walk. And then my son said to me, where are you going? Thank you, my darling. I said, I'm going for a walk. And he was like, do you know what? I was just thinking, I want to go for a walk as well. So we both went for a walk and we walked for about an hour. I kid you not, do you know how much energy I had for the rest of the day? I've done so much stuff. I've done my website, the about me, the founders section of my website. Cooked my dinner. I had ribs and lamb ribs and chickpea curry, and I made some homemade coleslaw. Done some washing, watched a movie, chatted to the kids, and just chilled out. And I just didn't feel as tired as I was feeling, and because I was honest about my inner experience, I actually manifested someone to walk with. It was so cool, because my son thought that we were going to go like I think when we was walking about 20 minutes in the walk, he was like, oh, okay, we're going to go back. I was like, no, we haven't got to where we've got to go yet. We've got to go up the hill. We haven't done the sweat part. You've got to do the sweat part. So, and we both enjoyed it. So I'm trying to do that every day because I've got back into my self-employment now. So I'm trying to give myself recreational activities to keep myself going and doing. I've got my pole at home now as well, so I can do my pole dancing. So yeah, write down how you feel inside, what you show others, and what others say about you. So write down what you feel inside first. So just take that time out and just to sit with yourself and just, practice this, bring it into your space, bring it into your life experience. And as simple as it sounds, it's quite powerful. There's sometimes when I want something really. I'll give you an example. There's times when I want like £100 or something, and I'm like, do I really want it? Like inside of me, do I want this £100 or do I not want this £100? And if I want the £100, then I have to look at, well, what part of myself am I hiding why I can't manifest this £100? Because if I feel as though I want it, that means that it's there for me. That means that it's there for me. And like I said, I don't always have high esteem in regards to these things and these techniques and tools. But when I do, it's like that. And I'm honest and I'm like, okay, somebody will contact me and ask me to do something that's aligned to my work. And I'll be like, okay, £100, because sometimes you can feel as though you want £100 and then somebody contacts you and go, can you write this song for me? And you're like, oh, yeah, 50 quid. No, you wanted £100. Like, what is it that you're doing? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Why would I mind you saying something lovely to me? I'm not going to mind that. Thank you very much. Bring it on. So, yeah, write it down. You can be as shallow or as deep as you want to. Makes no difference. Makes no difference. It's just like with integrity. You could want a new job. Your inner self could be saying, you know, I need to change jobs. And your inner self could be saying, I need to clean the oven. It doesn't matter. You can't weigh those things against each other. The fact that you're speaking to yourself about these things, that's what's important. Because we measure the urgency of what we want against what we want way too much. The urgency is not the issue. The urgency is not important. What's important is the fact that you've said that you want to do something. What's important is which one is important within you. So, oh, I can't clean the oven and I can't clean the cupboard because I'm supposed to be editing my CV to apply for this job. No, clean the oven or clean the cupboard and then get to the CV, and you'll see how regulated you are when you're doing the CV. Because when you're doing the CV, you're going to rush and you're going to be irritated and dysregulated because what's urgent to you, really, what's on top of the list is cleaning the cupboard. But you're not realizing that cleaning the cupboard is what's going to give you the energy to do all the other major stuff that you need to do. It's not for me to say. I mean, if the CV is not feeling and floating as top of the list, then if it is floating as the top of the list, then that's cool. But if it's not, then do what you've got to do. It's about learning to listen to yourself. You've got to trust yourself. How are other people going to trust you if you don't trust yourself? The more you incorporate these things into your life is amazing. And I'm just laughing because I just had a vision of somebody who doesn't like me literally on this live now watching because she wants to learn. And because she and I don't speak no more, she's come on the live because she can hide and get the knowledge, which is fine. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. You know, because this type of stuff that I teach is what I teach in my groups. This is what I teach in my coaching. This is the kind of stuff that you read about in my books. I have 4 books on Amazon. You've done it. You've done your list. Okay. So with that list, I mean, I can't see it, but with that list, can you see where things are out of alignment? You've written down how you're feeling inside. What are you showing others? Are you showing others the exact same thing as you're feeling inside? Are you showing others that you're a bit insecure, that your teeth are a bit crooked? Are you showing others that you're actually not satisfied with the job that you've got at the moment and the money that's coming in? Are you showing others that you're feeling quite tired most days? Are you showing these things, or are you hiding these things? Are you showing that you feel like amazing? Are you toning down your energy levels in order to not offend other people and come across as perfect? It depends on the audience. And how often are you in spaces where you have to mask yourself in that way? Because those are the reasons why you will be feeling drained. If so, I'm not saying you are, but those are the reasons why you'll be feeling drained, because you're majority of the time performing inauthenticity. Because you're not performing authenticity, you're performing inauthenticity. So therefore, like I explained earlier, If you're pretending most of the time at your job, that's going to be draining because you're pretending. And this is why I'm saying this power is about how to reach your peak capacity. So if you're pretending most of the time in your work, you don't want to be in situations in your home life where you're being outside of work, where you're being inauthentic as well. That's also draining your energy. You don't want to be in a situation where you are inauthentic at work and then you're not doing anything at home or in your home life. You haven't got spaces where you're being authentic except for isolating yourself, being on your own, because you're not manifesting the things that you want because it requires you to get into the world. So the way that you increase your energy, the energy that's been depleted from masking yourself at work, is by having hobbies that align with your authenticity, because that way you're topping yourself up, because you're still going into spaces where you're being yourself. Is that making sense, Tasha? Yeah. I'm not saying, like I said, for some, you can't be in places where your life can't just be fully authentic. That's absolutely fine. However, it's knowing how to manage the energy levels, knowing how to reach your peak capacity through authenticity. Again, some spaces, yes, you do have to perform and mask yourself. However, you still have the power of creating spaces where you can top up on your energy, right? Having an outlet to be authentic rather than isolating and being authentic to yourself. It doesn't make different, doesn't, that's not doing anything, because there's things that you need and want in life that you're going to uh, want to achieve. And if you're practicing to isolate instead of be authentic and only being in spaces which require you to be inauthentic, you're just going to be drained. Look how many people say, oh, I was in a relationship and I just wasn't myself. And I can see how it's aged me and it's done all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's not just relationships that do that. It's basically being inauthentic in any space. So you write down how you feel inside, you write down what you're showing to other people. Yeah, so if we keep it specific to a workspace, then for example, inside you actually feel prosperous and happy. You go to work and you've got to kind of tone it down because you're making yourself too noticed, etc., etc. That's using up your energy, because you're using energy to pretend that you're not happy and you don't feel prosperous. You're using energy to pretend to people that, well, you're using energy to accommodate other people's comfort zones. Yeah, and what are people saying about you? Are they saying that you come across happy and prosperous? Because that sometimes can be even the war, because they can actually see that you're being fake. You're navigating me as though you're on the same wavelength as me and the same energy level as me, but actually you're not. And they'll say, "Oh, you're being patronizing, or you got a condescending tone, or whatever." When you actually do have that. That's the frequency that you're letting off, because you're being vague. They're not able to articulate it, and you don't have the self awareness to know that you're accommodating this person, and they're picking up on it. If you want a sofa, for example, just a simple, I feel like I need to change my sofas. Okay, am I showing that I need to change my sofas? Because that you need to let off that frequency that you want to change your sofas. If you don't let off the frequency and you don't have the conversation that you want to change your sofas, and you're just pretending that your house is decorated and everything's great, no one ain't gonna know. No one ain't gonna say, oh, they're doing a discount at DFS. No one ain't gonna say, oh, Do you know what? I bought some sofas the other day, but I don't even want them. Do you want them? Because I'll just get them to send them to your house and just give me a discount. Do you get what I mean? Or such and such has got some sofas that she wants to get rid of because she's moving, but they're brand new. You're missing out on opportunities because you're trying to pretend that that's not what's going on. There's no shame in being authentic. And you'll realize that there's no shame when you realize that when you're exposed to the fact that there's opportunities that come with that. There's opportunities that come with being authentic. You know, then what are people saying about you? If you can lie, if you can align your life where you're being authentic, things will be much, much easier. You'll glide through life, you'll have way more energy, way more. And then I'm going to touch on sleep as well. You'll have way more energy. Just remind me of that one. I'm going to touch on sleep. Because you're feeling happy and prosperous inside. You're showing that you're happy and prosperous, but so people will give you opportunities that are for people who are happy and prosperous. You're showing that you're sad inside. You're feeling sad inside. You're showing that you're sad inside. So people will try and cheer you up and present opportunities to increase your energy. It's not always that it's going to be that you're going to attract vulnerability. Sometimes people can't sleep because they're being inauthentic and they haven't reached their peak capacity throughout the day. I remember the one time, this was when I first got back from Bali, when I first learned these teachings. And I had my integrity list and I had finished everything on there. And I remember like going to bed and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. And my mind was going and going and going and going. I was like, do you know what? Why am I going to bed? Why am I trying to go to bed? Because it's 11, 12 o'clock. When I'm supposed to go to bed when I've used up my energy. So I clearly hadn't used up my energy. And what was on my mind is getting some air. That's what was on my mind. And it was 12 o'clock in the night. I put on my clothes and my trainers and I went for a run. And I got back, sorted some the other stuff out, and I went to sleep and slept like a baby because I had reached my peak capacity. So I honored how I was feeling inside. I showed it to myself because this was something between me. It's not always about other people either. This is something between me and me. And then, you know, when I was sharing with my friends and I was like, I went for a run last night at 12 o'clock and they were like, you need to be safe and blah, 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 which they're right. You still need to be safe, but they know I'm that type of person that will do that. So that's what others will say about me. Serena's the type of person who will go for a run at 12 o'clock in the night because she's got too much energy. She's gone for a run. And it also allows people to understand you and who you are when you are being honest and open and keeping it real. How many times have you had a friend who you didn't know that would sleep with your man? I mean, that's a drastic one. Or because she was pretending she wasn't being authentic. And you wasn't even watching out for it because you was too busy performing your friendship with the person. Because you're busy performing the relationship with your friend, you're not clocking her inauthenticity or her authenticity that she's a whore. You know, aligning your inner experience, what you show others and what others say about you is serious. It's a power. Are you promiscuous? Be honest. Show people that you're promiscuous. And others will say that we'll keep you away from our man. Or we'll help you to work through it. Figure out what the hell's going on with you, man. So yeah, like we're coming up to an hour now, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for coming on. Integrity, and now we're on authenticity. And the third power is responsibility. Now, they all tie into each other. Integrity, authenticity, responsibility, and enrichment. There's 4 powers. And we have to discuss it in these types of settings in order for the clicks to happen, the completion to happen, and for the growth to happen and self-actualization to happen within us. You know, it would be good if you guys could join the masterclass where we actually get to interact and I can hear what you're saying and I can walk you through certain things, because then that's even more powerful. You know, I'll be doing a masterclass very soon. Yes, I will. Hey Stitch, you all right? I'm literally every time I'm leaving, you come on. So integrity, authenticity. Integrity is honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others as though your life depends on it. Authenticity is aligning your inner experience, your outer experience, and what you show to others in order to reach your peak capacity. And responsibility is acknowledging that your outer experience depends on your inner experience. So I don't mind sharing that power with you guys as well, so that you can master how to understand that everything that's happening outside of you is the consequence of everything that's happening inside of you. And that's a deep one, and I have some stories to share on that too, because a lot of things have happened to me in my life where I've had to understand that certain pain that I was feeling is that I was experiencing outwardly, and certain conflicts that I was having outwardly is because of the conflicts that it was just mirroring the conflicts that I was having internally. And it's very powerful and very difficult to cognize if you're not somebody who is okay with self-reflection and self-awareness, because that criticizing yourself, you can feel like you're criticizing yourself, not that you are analyzing yourself or yes, subjectively analyzing yourself. You know, you need to be objective with yourself sometimes. You know, the same way you would support somebody else is the way that you need to support yourself sometimes. Hey TC. And that's what the power of responsibility is about. So without further ado, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, I hope that you guys got what you needed to get from this. And yeah, I'm going to go and have a glass of wine and chill out and prepare for tomorrow for responsibility, where we'll talk about the power of responsibility. Just to recap again: integrity, honoring the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others as though your life depends on it. Authenticity is aligning your inner, outer, and what others say about you experience to manifest what you want and reach your peak capacity. And responsibility is understanding that your external experience is because of how you're feeling inside. Yeah? And I'll give you need a pen and paper for that too. Love you loads. And Chat soon. Bye.